So, the state of Oklahoma is suing Roblox for millions of dollars. And I'm going to be honest, I see a lot of people parading around like this is some sort of victory, when I personally don't think it is, and I think it's a sort of performative kind of act. And so I want to make a video going over the lawsuit as well as my personal thoughts on why this is just happening now, when Roblox has and continues to be, in my opinion, a safety risk for many years now. And all of a sudden now, because there's this sort of media frenzy, now everybody wants to sue Roblox. It's very interesting. Now, before we get started, I am still sick. I have like an ear infection. It's terrible. I can barely breathe, so my voice sounds different, so apologies in advance. But basically, I came across this post by the RTC, which says the U.S. state of Oklahoma is suing Roblox. The Attorney General is alleging that Roblox has put profits over child safety and allowed predators to target children. Which, again, Roblox has been around for decades, or several years at this point, okay? And it's interesting to me that now all of a sudden they care. You know, this has been a known issue for many years at this point. This is not something that people just found out about yesterday, but what's interesting to me is that as soon as Schlepp, made this very public, now all of these US states that were aware of the problem, mind you, and that had heard victim impact statements from victims of this platform and other social media platforms like Discord, now all of a sudden they want to hop on the bandwagon and act like social justice warriors. It's very performative in my opinion, and I don't think they actually have the intentions of actually helping kids in this situation, but with that in mind, let's read their official statement on this. So, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce this. Drummond, I think, files lawsuit against Roblox for endangering children and deceiving parents. So if you guys don't know, the way that it works is that in certain areas, yes, you can have personal lawsuits, that's a civil lawsuit, but when it comes to suing, corporations, typically it will be the state, so a area in the United States that will sue a corporation, and the person that decides if you're going to sue somebody on behalf of the entire state is someone called the district attorney. It also applies to if you've ever watched like predator catching videos and how they'll say the district attorney dropped the charges. That essentially means that the person that represents the state decided they didn't want to go after the person that has these allegations against them. They decided maybe there isn't enough evidence, it isn't worth it, whatever, right? And district attorneys have a lot of power to decide on whether or not somebody should be, brought to court for the stuff they've allegedly done. In this situation, the district attorney has chosen to sue Roblox. So it's essentially the entire state of Oklahoma that is suing Roblox, okay? Now it says, Oklahoma City, May 14th, 2026, Attorney General Getchner Drummond, my bad guys, today filed a lawsuit against Roblox. So the Attorney General is the one that filed this lawsuit. The massively popular online gaming platform targeted at children and teens. According to the company, 2/3 of all children ages 9 to 12 years old in the United States are actively engaged in Roblox gaming, including thousands of children in Oklahoma, which this has been known. It's been a known thing. It's interesting to me that people are acting like this is a surprise. Roblox has millions of players play the game every single day. Duh, there's going to be kids in Oklahoma who play the game. Like what? They go on to say, Drummond emphasized that despite its public assurances to parents, Roblox has consistently placed corporate profit over child safety, allowing the platform to become a hunting ground for child blanks, which I'm not going to read on YouTube. They go on to say, Roblox marketed itself as a safe place for children but turned a blind eye as blanks targeted and exploited minors on the platform. Drummond said it failed to implement adequate safeguards, failed to protect young users, and failed to be honest with parents about the risks. We must ensure Roblox is held accountable and Oklahoma families are protected. Which sure, on paper that sounds great, right? Let's hold this gaming company accountable, right? But why are we not, filing a lawsuit, from the district attorney towards other platforms that are also known, even to a higher degree, of being unsafe for children, specifically Discord, specifically Snapchat. Those are platforms like Discord specifically, in my personal opinion, is one of the worst platforms for kids on the internet. And I had a whole situation when I was younger, I'm not going to get into on YouTube, but essentially someone can victimize you, like point blank, like being really inappropriate, like stuff that on paper is categorized as luring or as, and you can present that information to the police. And because Discord has up until now not taken adequate personal information from people who use the platform, they cannot prove who actually owns that account. And so you can say, oh, Bob over here, he did this to me. He was sending me these messages. He sent me these explicit images when I was a kid, right? But Discord cannot prove, because they did not collect data on whether or not Bob owns that Discord account. And so Bob, even though you as a person who is impacted by this, he owns that account because you were speaking to Bob, Discord can do nothing, and so therefore the police can do nothing because Discord cannot give them the information they need to prosecute somebody who is very obviously a danger to children. And it's such a big problem. It is something that is a really big issue, especially on Roblox as well. But it's interesting to me that Roblox is in the hot seat right now, and the only reason, in my opinion, Roblox is making these safety changes is because they're in the hot seat, and it feels like states see Roblox as an easy target right now, and so they're just going after Roblox and suing them for money. Because at the end of the day, states can sue Roblox, right? They sue them, and Roblox is required to pay damages or pay a certain amount of, money or whatever, or, there's fees, and there's also, reprimands and stuff like that where they have to do certain things, whatever. But at the end of the day, stuff with lawsuits is typically about money, not justice. And in this situation, if they actually wanted justice, if they actually wanted to protect children, then they would get other platforms like Discord involved in this lawsuit. But instead, they just want to target Roblox because they're a low-hanging fruit. Do I think we need to hold Roblox accountable? Yes, but are we looking other incredibly dangerous platforms? Yes. So how are we helping when Roblox, in my opinion, and Discord are tied together? They are very closely linked, and they work together, not purposefully, but they work together in a coexisting space to allow dangerous people to have access to kids. A lot of times, in my situation especially, I met people on Roblox that then transitioned into a conversation on Discord. It transitioned off platform to Discord because Roblox has integrations with Discord. And so the fact that Discord is not being sued in these kind of situations is very telling to me that these people don't actually give a shit about kids' safety, and they really just want to, make a quick buck out of suing a company because they're vulnerable right now and they're getting sued by a bunch of other people. Because it's easy to sue, a company from a bunch of different states so that their financial resources are drained, so that, they don't have the ability to fully fight back because maybe they're busy with other lawsuits, as opposed to going after Discord, because Discord's, a big company, they're very profitable, they aren't in a ton of lawsuits right now. So of course, let's all just dogpile Roblox. Does Roblox need to be held accountable? Yes, but are you doing it for the right reasons, in my opinion? No. Now, they go on to say, according to the lawsuit, Roblox has allowed children as young as 5 to create accounts without parental knowledge and exchange messages with strangers on the platform. Correct, but so does Discord. Worse still, Roblox's lax account creation system has enabled adults to masquerade as children, often using multiple accounts and easily evading Roblox's attempts to ban them. These impersonators range from individual to organized rings of which, ding ding ding, same with Discord, babe. You're looking in the mirror right now, what is going on? They go on to say, the lawsuit details how Roblox prioritized rapid revenue growth and other metrics while disregarding safety measures. According to sources cited in the complaint, Roblox employees reported feeling explicit pressure to avoid changes that could reduce platform engagement, even when those changes would protect children from blanks. Which, 100% I agree with that, but so do other platforms. So do platforms like Snapchat, and so do platforms like Discord. There is not safety features on any of those platforms, in my opinion, that are sufficient for the stuff that is occurring on there. And people know that if you're on a platform that provides anonymity, there's going to be bad actors on there because that's what they want. They want to be anonymous. They don't want their, real identity to be tied to the disgusting, deplorable things they're doing online. And so, again, to single out Roblox, they're the sole actor that is causing this issue, they're one of the contributors, right? But Roblox and Discord, in my opinion, go so hand in hand, it doesn't make sense to just sue Roblox. You have to go after the other platform, too, that makes it easier for these people to get access to kids, right? Roblox, in my opinion, acts as the introduction to this kind of behavior, and then they tie in with Discord so that Discord can then facilitate further conversations. And then players and these dangerous people will oftentimes play on Roblox as they are being grouped. It is just so enmeshed together. You cannot separate the two, in my opinion. They are just so interconnected, and so trying to just solely sue Roblox because they're vulnerable right now, it just seems like it's not in good faith. You know what I mean? It just doesn't come across very nice. They go on to say Roblox's willingness to sacrifice the well-being of children in pursuit of profit is unconscionable and indefensible, Drummond said. He goes on to say the lawsuit alleges violations of Oklahoma Consumer Protection Act and seeks civil penalties and a permanent injunction against the company, among other relief. And then we have a full lawsuit here, and it sounds like the other relief or whatever is going to be money to some degree. If I'm looking at the lawsuit here, we can see that there is Roblox gift cards that they show as evidence in this lawsuit. How they're selling Roblox gift cards. They show games on Roblox, which they have Grow a Garden on this picture. Interesting. If we scroll down further, let's see what else I got here. They talk about the settings and how settings are insufficient. Oh. They have a video that was uploaded to a website for naughty imagery that took place on Roblox. Very interesting. Now, when it comes to the actual relief, Dollhouse Roleplay's in here. Dollhouse Roleplay. Interesting. The game itself is in here. That is actually crazy. And if we scroll down further, it's gonna be kind of hard to figure out exactly what they're asking for. But it looks like they want a permanent injunction. Oh, they're just listing all the charges here. Enter the judgment against defendant in favor of the state of Oklahoma for each violation alleged in the petition. Issue permanent injunction requiring defendant to implement meaningful and lasting safeguards to protect children on the Roblox platform, and require defendant to meaningfully and publicly disclose on a regular basis risks posed to children on the platform, which basically they're saying, Roblox, you have to identify that there are risks on this platform, you have to constantly say that to parents, okay? That's fair. I want to say, issue a permanent injunction for prohibiting defendant from engaging in deceptive, what is that? Acts and practices in violation of the OCPA. So they're saying don't, do deceptive advertising. They also say order defendant to pay civil penalties to the state of Oklahoma, not more than $10,000 per violation. How many violations are there? Oh, looks like 193? That'd be a lot of money. Now they go on to say, what else do they want? Which is interesting too, because the money's getting paid to the state. Where's it gonna go? You never know. There is some corruption when it comes to state spending. Just saying. They go on to say, enter judgment finding the total number of defendants' distinct violations. Enter judgment against defendant in favor of the state of Oklahoma for the reasonable costs and expenses of the investigation and prosecution, defendants' unlawful conduct, including attorney's fees, expert and other witness fees, and costs as provided by blank. Awards such other relief as the court deems necessary and proper under the circumstances. So now what they're saying is on top of paying $10,000 per violation, right? They also, $10,000 maximum per violation. They also want them to pay all the court fees. They also want them to pay any investigation fees, which investigation fees is kind of like a broad term. Like it can include police officers that you interviewed. It can include, people who went and did research, like their hourly wage and stuff like that. Like there are so many fees that is associated with an investigation like this. So it's going to become very expensive very quickly. And they also add that any, relief that the court deems necessary. So they also, any extra money that the court says they need to pay. Ooh. And of course, Roblox has to be proven guilty before this can, go through. But very interesting. It seems like they want a lot of money from Roblox. So altogether, I think it's important to hold companies accountable. And I think it's important to, ensure that companies are keeping kids safe and are being, transparent with parents about the risks of their platforms. But the issue I take with this is that it doesn't seem like it's a lawsuit in good faith. In my opinion, it comes across like this is just, someone trying to target Roblox because they're low-hanging fruit. And if you actually cared about the people who are being victimized by online platforms that do not have safeguards in place, there would be lawsuits in conjunction with this for platforms like Discord that, in my opinion, go hand in hand with Roblox, and the two of them work together to facilitate a sort of environment where kids are put at risk, right? And so it does bug me that Roblox is being the only person or group kind of being singled out in this instance. I feel like this should be a lawsuit on behalf of, the entire, like a class action, where it also involves, other platforms like Discord, and maybe even, other websites and stuff like that have contributed to these sorts of issues. But regardless, I definitely do think child safety on Roblox is an issue. I think it's good that, states are, taking this stuff more seriously. The timing, in my opinion, is suspicious. I think it's not necessarily for the reasons that they're stating here. It seems more performative, if anything. But regardless, I'd like to know your guys' thoughts down below. What do you think about this? Do you think that, other platforms should be sued? If so, what platforms do you think should be held accountable for this kind of behavior? And with that in mind, thank you guys so much for watching, and apologies again. My voice is so gone. It is terrible. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!